People may ask, why do we take such a comprehensive, patient-centered approach? Because every patient deserves more than just a patch. They deserve a chance to recover.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining our podcast, Eclipse Unscripted.
Yeah.
So here we like to, give some inspirational stories and give some advice, perhaps even to some people that might benefit, those dealing with pain, those wanting to go into sports medicine or become an athlete like yourself. So thank you for your time. And Jose, see you again.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to sharing stories and helping people, hear from other people so that they can learn from their experience. Looking forward to it.
So Colby Lewis, major league pitcher, superstar. What got you into baseball? Have you always wanted to be a baseball star?
Yeah. So my mom wouldn't let me play any other sport, so that was kind of cool. But because I felt like I was a pretty decent athlete at a lot of stuff, but my mom was like, "No, you're going to play baseball." And I was like, she's like, "You were always the kid," and I stuck in the outfield. She would be our t-ball coach, and she's like, "You were the only one that could throw the ball all the way in." So I felt like I always kind of had a decent arm, kind of growing up, and then actually, like with all this pain and recovery type stuff that we're going to talk about, is I actually wind up having Tommy John after my junior year in high school. I missed my entire senior year, and then had to rehab and do all that kind of stuff at an early age, and kind of like go through that mental state. And I think which helped me out a lot as I got older, and when I be able to do it so young, and then be able to come back and do that kind of stuff when my injuries happened later in my career. But yeah, so I missed my senior year, go up to my local junior college, and kind of just bounce back and forth from being having good velocity to like how that first kind of year kind of goes, kind of coming back from Tommy John, and then my sophomore year, I just kind of everything kind of took off. Like I just started throwing super hard, and got noticed by all the scouts and drafted by the Rangers.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So the intention from the beginning was to go pro.
Well, yeah. That was I was always like, it's every kid's dream, right? You're growing up, you're like, I want to be a major league baseball player. I mean, Jose played when growing up, and like it's literally like that's what you want to be, of course. But I mean, in all reality, I mean, like it's super, super hard to accomplish. But I mean, in your 12-year-old self, you're like, yeah, that's just what I want to do, But I mean, I'm definitely glad that everything worked out, and fortunate enough to do it for a long time. So
I should say, yeah. Do you feel like during that growth period when you were a teenager and getting into more higher level athletics, you had a lot of stress during that period, or was it more fun and engaging? How did you manage, looking back on it now? What was your dominant emotion during those times?
I think what helped a lot was there's no club baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you just really look forward to the time that you got to be with your guys at rec. And then you had, once rec was done, then you had like they picked a travel team off your rec, and those were like your traveling all-stars. And so, and then you got to play a little bit more baseball, you got to play maybe 6 more weeks of baseball. So, I just look forward to it every year, and it was just one of those things. And like Ozzy can attest to it. Like a lot of us growing up, it was like backyard baseball, wiffle ball, and all that kind of stuff. And that's how you learn how to spin the ball, and it was just fun. You grab a stick and you grab a wiffle ball and tape it up with some duct tape and go have some fun. So and then when you got to have it actually locked down with the rules and everything else, I was like still fun. It wasn't like super serious. Where like my son is umpiring right now, and he's like, Dad, it was 9U baseball, and I had to throw a coach out, in travel baseball. He's like, because he was arguing balls and strikes. Like, and it's 9U. These guys are it's just way too intense, and these kids see it too early, and it just takes the fun out of the game, I think. So,
You feel like the whole mood has changed and shifted, perhaps.
100%.
Yeah. What do you think the cause is for that?
Because every parent thinks their kid's going to be the next Bryce Harper. I mean,
your parent did.
Well, yeah. I mean, but I mean, I mean, she was going to allow me to play football my senior year, and I would, because I had a good arm. Actually, the head coach for football came up and watched me pitch and was like, "Hey, I want you to come out." And so I asked my mom. She's like, "It's senior year, you can go play." And then it's 2 weeks later, I blew out. So, yeah, I mean, I just think, I mean, they need to be playing other sports too. I just think that more well-rounded as you are, I think it takes a lot of stress off of just one joint and one movement, and it gives your body like a little bit more time to heal, especially elbows and shoulders. So,
What was that first call like for the major leagues? Hey, we want you.
I just finished my AA year, and so I go to my first big league camp, and we were actually in Port Charlotte, Florida at the time, and then they always do, they always bring guys. I wasn't planning on making the club. I was just young. I was 22 years old and had a heck of a spring training. And so they asked you to kind of come back, and we have like the little warm up, like 3-game series before the season opens up, and they pitch one more time. I pitched great. And so I actually went in, I talked to my pitching coach. I was like, "Hey, my dad's on the way. Does he need to go to like Oklahoma City?" Because our AAA was in Oklahoma City at the time. Like, do we need to go to Oklahoma City? Or is he driving to Arlington? I'm like, I kind of need to know because all my stuff is in the car, Like, all right, let me go talk to Skip. So he goes in there, and then they call me in, and he's like, "Hey, tell your dad to make the route to Arlington." So then I call him, and then I call my mom. She starts crying, all that good stuff, So yeah, it was cool. I mean, got sent down 3 weeks later because I wasn't pitching, and so I was a starter. And so I was pitching out of the pen, and I only pitched 2 times in 3 weeks. So they were like, "You're young. We want you to pitch. He's down in AAA." And so I went back down and got more innings in, and then get called back up and pitch out of the pen again, and then like don't pitch very much, and then they sent me back down, and it was kind of a back and forth year, but yeah, it was definitely a learning process, being around a team full of veterans. I was the youngest guy out for sure. So, but yeah, we weren't very good, but I had a lot of great veteran guys that kind of lead me the way and kind of teach you how to go about your business in the big leagues.
So before you got into Major League, you described the process as being fun and really not a whole lot of stress behind it. Did that change first time you were standing on the mound in front of thousands of people?
Which was great. And we opened up in Oakland because, I mean, Oakland's 4-hour drive from my house in California. So all my family got to come up and watch me. But yeah, I really didn't it didn't really bother me that much. I went out and I wound up, it was second and third with 2 outs. I wind up getting the guy 0-2 and I walk him. And, Frank Mankino anyway. And was my first hitter I faced. And then I wound up getting a ground ball to short and getting out of the inning. And then that's when it kind of set in. I got to the dugout and then my legs started shaking a little bit. Like, holy crap, I was breathing down. So. And then I go out and pitch one more inning and it was fine. But that was when it kind of set in. It's like once you're off, when you're in the moment, you kind of really don't, doesn't really bother you. But it's like when you're allow yourself to think of what's happening, that's when it kind of you get the nerves come in and everything else like that. So
wow,
doubt, all that kind of stuff.
Once that sets in, is it there for the remainder of the game, or can you turn it off?
No, you turn it off. When you run back out there, you have a job to do. I mean, my thing was always I got 8 other guys out there that that are dependent on me to get this job done and not be out there for very long. So, but sometimes it didn't work out. I mean, you don't have very good innings and you don't pitch very well, and you feel like you let the team down. But it's just part of it. I mean, you just got to let those things go.
So physically, this is obviously a very demanding occupation. And I think throughout the years, you've suffered a number of injuries.
Yeah.
The hip being one of them.
Yeah, fake hip, yeah.
Tell me about that.
So Dr. Edwin Sue in was a special surgery in New York Center Hospital for Special Surgeries, did it. And he did I think he did the Undertaker's hip. He did both the WWE wrestler. Another hockey player, he came back and did it. But it's it's an active replacement, like a Birmingham hip. So it's just a cap and ball. But yeah, it was literally woke up from it and I was like, all my chronic pain, everything else was gone. Just crazy because I have shooting pain all the way down past my knee into my shin and stuff like that because of the hip. But pitched on it. I don't know how many years I pitched on. I pitched on for like 3 or 4 years. So
I was going to say that you were dealing with that pain.
So I mean, yeah. good medicine and cortisone shots, get you by until you can't,
Jose was telling me a story where you were pitching with this hip. Normally you would follow through with the hip, but in this case you weren't because it was almost frozen.
Right.
You might even say.
Yeah.
So you're still throwing these 90 plus mile an hour fastballs now just through your arm. You're not even.
Yeah, your lower half
through it.
kind of shot. Yeah. And I think that's I think that kind of led to my flexor tendon, like kind of issue that I had in 12. But just because I was trying to create same type of velocity with more arm effort than actually using your whole body.
You remember the first time you met Jose?
Probably 10, like when we got to spring training. Yeah. I felt like it was just like another guy in the locker room. I mean, he was like, that was because he's a former player and played in college and did all that kind of stuff. I was like this is gonna be awesome, easy to talk to, just like a ball player. He wasn't like, because I've had some strength guys and condition guys and stuff in the past, and just like they're just military dudes, and you're like, this is what you're doing. Like when I first got to the big leagues, I was like, young, and like, this is the workouts and this is what you have to do. But Jose was real acceptable to just let us do kind of, he had our workouts, and it was like, and then he would, manipulate them to you to make your body move and all that kind of stuff. It was good. We had a great relationship. Still do.
What does a rehab program look like in the major league? Let's say in your case, you're dealing with these significant issues in between games. I mean, are you working? Are you resting? How do you manage that on that level?
So a lot of it is it's a coordination between like Jose and trainers and stuff, and figuring out like, all right, this is what needs to happen, right? So, and you adjust workouts. All right, hey, can't run like this anymore, so this is what we're gonna do. But we're still need to work on flexibility, so this is the type of thing that we're gonna do. So I think it's just an adaptive process, like when you're dealing with an injury, but like how can we maintain that, and like, okay, you heard it at a 6 pain level, like let's try to keep that as a 6 pain level, not let it get to an 8 at the end of the year. You know what I mean? So we're just trying to maintain.
Would they give you guys any injections?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't. I mean, I would ask for them. I mean, especially during the World Series runs. I mean, you're playing an extra 6 weeks of baseball, 5 weeks of baseball. So
did they do any good?
Oh yeah.
Bit?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the more I got, the less in between. Like the first one I got, it would last like 6 weeks or 7 weeks, and then the next one was like in the last 4 weeks. It would be like, okay, now I need one. Like in the postseason, I was getting one every 2 starts or so.
Wow. Yeah.
Is what it is. You got to do what you got to do to get on the field.
But you had the surgery.
Huh?
You had the surgery, and it was life changing.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the right time because I was trying to come back from my flexor, and I went out and I had one more rehab start in Frisco in AA, and I threw, and then velocity was way down, and my arm was like, it wasn't feeling good, and I just looked at my wife. I said, either I hang it up or I get my hip done, and if I don't come back from my hip, then I'm done, because I mean, I can't pitch like this anymore. I mean, I'm just going to continue to hurt other things, and it's not going to, I'm not getting good outs. I'm not being productive on the mound. So we decided to get the hip done in 13, and I came back and pitched 3 more seasons on it. So yeah.
You didn't need to do that. I mean, you could have hung it up. Could have said enough is enough. I'm hurting too bad. Throw in the towel. Why didn't you?
It's just, I mean, I think any good athlete or any that it's done it at any level, I think is that
You are.
yeah, there's just not any quit. I mean, it's just like, all right, until I'm broken, like you're not gonna, I mean, take you anything to not put me on the mound. You know what I mean?
Well, you're obviously still in incredible shape. What's the secret?
I got to like I weighed the other day, I was 254. So, but I'd played around, what would I play around? 245, 250, around there.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, stepping on the scale, this is probably 6 months ago, 8 months ago now. And I was like 285. And my wife looked at me and was like, hey, what are we doing? Married in that. Like, all right, I get it. I was still working out, but I carried it fine. I didn't look like super big or fat or anything. But I was like, yeah, you're right. So I went on I did it for 7 weeks, and it was a carnivore diet. and just locked it down and dropped like 27 pounds, like super quick, like in the first 4 weeks, something like that. And kind of maintained it. And then it was like, all right, but I still try to follow it as close as I can. But I mean, I mix in some carbs here and there, but try not to past 12 o'clock, that type of thing. So, and it's just diet. And then I only work out 3 days a week, and then I do short cardio on Tuesdays, Thursdays. It's like maximum, like maybe 10 minutes, but it's like air bike. Like you do it like quick 20 calories and then get your heart rate up, and then you let it sit, and then you know, for 2 minutes, and then you do it a quick in. And so it's like the days of the long distance stuff is all done. My body's
high intensity. That's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got into like cycling and stuff like after I rehab with my hip, just to try to get me back in shape, because I like the endurance. I mean, when you pitch, I mean, that's what it's about. I wanted to go 9 innings, right? You know, like what we're trying to incorporate now and get back to. But it's the intensity level in the workouts. I mean, it's just kind of all changed. They went short sprints and high intensity, and I'm like, there's a reason why guys don't go past the 5th inning hardly anymore. So.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's I've heard a lot about the carnivore diet, at least for short periods where you can high protein, low carb, burn that fat. And yeah, no, that's interesting. What advice do you have for someone maybe who might be a patient of Jose's, coming up, high school, college, athletic, wanting to get into the big times? I know you mentioned staying well-rounded, playing different sports is going to be important. What should they be focusing on
when they come see Jose? Well, I mean, be ready for have a guy that's going to take care of you like a big leaguer, you know, like 100%. I mean, he did it forever. I mean, he knows what it takes, and he's also not going to. I mean, I don't think he's going to baby around the situation, and he's going to put you in the right aspect and the right drills and the right, you know, rehab or whatever the work entails for you to get back or get better at what you want to do.
Yeah, well, I would agree. And you know what's interesting, Jose, is I see athletes, and I also see our little old ladies that come and work with you as well, and you're able to move that for some reason. Like you're saying, he's not a military instructor,
right?
So I think this is like a great place for you to be able to show that off. So that's cool. Last question: what's your favorite movie?
Oh, Tombstone. Yeah, Tombstone.
Classic.
I mean, anytime, and I have it on DVD, and you have it on your what are we going to call it? DVD is actually outdated these days. So, but you have it like, you know, you can pull it up on anything. But I sit there and I would scroll through on my cable, and it'd be like on PBS or something, and I'll be like, ooh, watching it. And you're like, and you sit there and find yourself watching it through the commercials. And you're like, what am I doing that for? All I can do is turn it on Netflix right now. You know what I mean? Like, or Prime, you know, I mean, I can be watching the movie, but you're like, okay, well, I'm going to watch an extra 30 minutes of commercials because it's your movie, you know? Like no matter when it's on, you just sit there and watch it.
You don't have a subscription to YouTube?
No. I mean, I think my son does. No.
Once you do, there's no going back.
No, I know. I try to not do any social media, and like even like I have like basically a fake account so I can monitor my kids, and my wife has like all their things synced to her phone. So like no matter what chat it is, whatever it is, she gets all the updates and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's just I don't know. I did like all the social stuff. Even like we just never got into it. So
you're probably keeping your family safer for it. Yeah. But well, we appreciate you so much for coming out.
I appreciate Brent. Yeah.
Been super meeting you and hearing about your story. And
I want to hear Jose talk a little bit. What's going on over there?
Well, I mean, I'm just listening, man. I'm just reminiscing. I'm just sitting here. Remember on all the stories, all the Colby Lewis moments that I had.
Yeah. Jose, what's your favorite Colby Lewis moment?
My favorite Colby Lewis moment. We always did a 300-yard shuttle for spring training as a conditioning test, and usually the older guys or the guys that were injured, I would let them not do it because it wasn't necessary. And I remember he came in one year. And I think it was after you did your...
Right after my hip?
Yeah, after the hip surgery. And he's like, I'm going to run it. I'm like, no, you don't have to run it. He's like, no, I'm going to run it because if I could do it, these young guys got to do it. And I'm like, all right, cool. And he did it. Like, he did it. And that was one of those moments. That was the kind of guy that he was. He always did everything, didn't complain. We knew he was in pain. We knew he was going through stuff, but he's just always professional. He just did it and made our life easy because he never complained. He cooperated with the trainers. He cooperated with me, with the strength coaches, and he just did his job. And he never really complained much, even though we knew he was in a lot of pain and a lot of his stuff was serious, but he always just did his job. And that's the thing I always remember about him. He always did his job without complaining. That is a virtue in itself in this day and age in baseball. Is just do your job without complaining about everything else that's going on around you. So
You must have been very optimistic. You're a very positive person. Would I be correct in that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of stems from my dad. I'm trying to get emotional, but like he was the guy. He was a hard worker. So I mean, I think that's where it kind of stemmed from. Woke up, didn't complain, went from job to job. Like I remember him not having a job, then he just swept always at my school because what he wanted to do, be around me or whatever. So, but yeah, I think that's where it came from.
Is that hard? Is that a hard place to be?
What?
To always be, you know what, no matter what happens, it's going to be okay.
No, my wife always says, she goes, you always say, well, it is what it is. I'm like, well, I mean, you're not going to change like what's happening. So it's whether you're going to have a positive attitude about it or you're going to have a negative attitude about it. So, I mean, it's whether you're going to sit around and dwell and like the old saying, right? Dwelling upon the negatives, only setting yourself up for failure. So when you're going to sit around and dwell like, oh, pity me, then, or you're going to go do something about it and be like, yeah, it sucks, but I'm not going to let anybody down.
Absolutely. That's one of the things, we're working on our patients with, because it can be so easy go down that negative spiral, call it catastrophizing. The little things become big things, and then big things become huge things, and next thing you know, you're paralyzed, on the couch.
Yeah, and the other thing is that like it's really easy to fall into like having somebody like when you get taken care of, it feels good, right? And so I think what happens a lot too is people fall into that. I just want to get taken care of. Like, oh, now my wrist hurt, or now my elbow hurts a little bit from I think it's pain's coming running here. So it just kind of like metabolizes into something bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and because somebody wants to feel like somebody's taking care of them. You know what I mean? So instead of like, all right, that's good. Yeah, this is a little funky, but whatever. Like this feels better. Then now I'm gonna move on. So I think it's like one of those things too. It's like just not allowing yourself to fall into wanting to be taken care of all the time.
I think you had a really positive thing as well. A couple of things, really. You had a clear mission, clear vision. You knew who you were. You knew what your job was, where you were going. And maybe even during a point there where that maybe wasn't as clear, your wife came in and said, hey, no, I married an athlete. Get your butt off the couch and go eat some protein.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, that's the funny thing. I really wasn't like lounging around. I was just eating what I was wanting to eat.
Sure.
And still working out. But it was just slowly like, all right, here, 2 more pounds, 2 more pounds, 2 more pounds, until you're like, look in the mirror and you're like, oof, what's going on here? So, but yeah, it's a mindset, Jose knows that. I mean, it's like wherever you put your mind at is like, okay, this is what I need to do today. And then you accomplish it and you're like, okay. And then you wake up and you're like, all right, this is what I need to do today. And then you go and do it, and it just setting small goals, especially in rehab. Like it might be, I remember when I was 16, it was just like literally having my hand on there and I was just grabbing, newspaper and pulling it and just crunching it into a ball, and just slowly working those ligaments again, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh man, now I got a band and now I'm moving it. Now I'm like, okay, all right. Now I know I'm getting stronger. This is cool. Like it might take, an extra week or 2 weeks or whatever, but when I tell these young guys that, in our program with the Rangers, and I'm like, if it takes an extra month, it takes an extra month. Who cares? But don't be like, I need to get back at this set time, because if you push yourself, at one point, boom, you can re-injure it, and now you're set back for another 6 months to a year. So it's just, taking your time when you need to have a little bit of moments, but also waking up and keeping that process going.
It is a day by day,
Yeah.
right? And small percentage gains. You probably see this a lot, Jose. Maybe in the non-athletic world, patients maybe want the results next day or even same day, or they come back in a week and they're like, "How come I'm not better yet?" And like, well, you're going to need more time than that. This is a lifestyle, really.
Yeah, and a lot of times we're doing exercise and the patient will tell me their story, and I get ideas from what they're telling me, and then I give them advice and I change the exercises, and in the conversation I'll tell them the therapy that I'm giving you is actually helping you make better choices at home, how to make your home safer, that way you don't trip over stuff, or you know what, no, continue to exercise, because some are afraid to continue their program because they have a little bit of pain. But after we talk and I realize your situation is not that bad, continue. No, continue. And then they come back and like, yeah, I went back to walking, I feel better. And I didn't really do anything per se in the clinic. All I did was give them advice about continuing. And so when it comes to health and well-being, is a mindset of, I'm going to keep doing the best that I can. And if it hurts at the moment, okay, I stop. But if I do my activity and the next day hurts, then I evaluate and I say, okay, well, I'm going to do a little less, but I'm okay. And I'm going to continue to do it. And so when it comes to what I do, most of it is just educating them on really continuing to move and not to stop.
That's definitely a good point, is that we're not trying to solve a problem for it to just come back. We're trying to put them on a new course of correction so that you can even prevent it from coming back in the future. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We got a lot going on out there, I think, today.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Really fun.
Do you like living better in Texas or California?
California.
He doesn't like the wind.
Yeah, so I'm not a wind guy. Like every time I come out, I'm like, we have a town right outside of Bakersfield called Tehachapi. It's beautiful, and it doesn't get very hot. It's in the mountains, and like that place would absolutely be twice as big as Bakersfield if the wind didn't blow. But the wind blows up there. We have this huge, electrical windmills, and and it's, it's just kind of the same thing here. You come here, it's 15-mile-an-hour winds every day. It's just constant, if not more. So, it's not fun to play golf in windy weather. And I try to play at least once a week now. So, but yeah, it's just, I love Texas, and I would be here in a heartbeat and my wife would be too. I mean, and our family. It's just that, I'm just not onto the winds. So, what it is.
Well, you have a lot of fans that are glad to see you today, and glad to know you're back in home state of Texas. I'm
here a lot though, so I mean, I do travel out here a lot, so it is fun, and I really do enjoy my time and when I spent here, and then my continued time that I get to come out and be around everybody.
Well, you always have a home here and friends here that would be happy to see you. So
appreciate that.
If you're ever around, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.